Good morning. I'm Dustin with Kavanaugh Outdoors, and today I bring you a message of peace. No, I don't. Let's get into the admin notes. First things first, this channel is sponsored by nobody. All the content and everything contained therein is the opinion of myself and myself alone, is not a representation of policy for anybody that we may mention on here. Um, so, yeah, if you're going to be mad at me. All right, so now that that's out of the way. So, a couple things to talk about today. First and foremost, big question rising out of President Biden's speech yesterday. He said this, and we'll talk about it here in just a second.
This work to save more lives more quickly. First, this executive order helps keep firearms out of dangerous hands.
Does it, though?
Continue to call on Congress to require background checks for all firearm sales.
Boom. Background checks for all firearm sales. So what does that mean? What does that mean for you? As a consumer, it means that it will directly involve the government with every firearms transaction that you as individuals would make. Now, to explain something for the people that don't know or don't know at home, right now, as it stands, as we are an FFL, or the company rather, we're a federally licensed firearms dealer. So we buy guns from individuals, and we buy guns from manufacturers, and we buy guns from distributors. When we disposition any of those guns, a 4473 or federal background check form is required to be filled out, and that contains, on that form anyway, it contains the manufacturer, the type, the serial number, the caliber, and model, I believe. So that those pieces of information are contained on there. That record, however, is transmitted to nobody. Here's what happens. When you fill out the 4473, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions like what's your home address, what's your social security, what's your height, weight, and all that stuff. The actual background check, the NICS LEAP portal, National Instant Criminal Check, is significantly less information than what's required for you to put on the thing. It doesn't ask you, it doesn't have us re-input any of the questionnaire information. Are you buying the gun for yourself? Are you a felon? Are you a pot smoker? Are you illegally admitted into the United States? Have you ever renounced your citizenship? Are you illegally discharged? Or were you dishonorably discharged from the armed forces? None of those questions are asked in a background check. So I guess there's a certain level of presumption on the side of the government that we've checked each one of those things, and we're not going to let you proceed because we've disqualified you here in the store. Excuse me. So that being said, there's a lot of information that doesn't go into the computer that's transmitted to the people conducting the background check. And once upon a time was the FBI. Now I believe it is solely the responsibility of the ATF. I tell you all of this to let you know that when we transmit those forms, the make, model, serial number, type of weapon, and caliber are not information that's transmitted via the NICS check when they do the background. All of that information is retained on the form. And as of recent legislation or rulemaking or whatever you want to call it, the ATF is requiring now what used to be a 20-year retain policy where we would have to maintain paperwork for all guns sold inside of the store for 20 years. They changed it to a lifetime retain policy. Now, if you think about that for a volume FFL dealer, not that I consider myself volume, I'm average size, thank you. That's a lot of, that can be, after 10 or 12 years, that can turn into a significant amount of storage. I mean, we're already filling up, 4 to 5 of the big paper boxes a year as it is with the forms that we are having to retain. And then you have trace requests and all this other information. My favorite is customers lose guns or they get them stolen and they call up and they're like, hey, I bought a gun from you in like November. It might have been 2021 or maybe 2022. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I need you to pull that so I can get the serial number off of it. And I'll tell you a funny story real quick on that. Customer called they said, "Hey, we need the serial number off this gun. My house was broken into, and it got stolen." I was like, "Okay, can you tell me something about it?" Well, my name is, and I bought it maybe in August, maybe in November, but it was a Taurus. I'm like, okay, well, what kind of Taurus was it? I don't know. I'll check the box when I get home. The box will have the serial number on it, and then I got no further communication from that customer. That was uh, trying to be polite, trying to be as helpful as I possibly could. But yeah, that's exactly what went down there. All right, I digressed. Back to the point. Point A being, criminal background checks are done if you buy from a dealer. Presently, there are no rules. Well, there's gray areas on this one as far as rules. There's uh, you're not guidance more so. You're not supposed to transfer handguns across state lines unless you go through an FFL, even as an individual. So, as a resident of Indiana, if I'm going to sell as an individual, if I'm going to sell a handgun to a resident of Kentucky, we're going to go through a gun store and do a background check. As a resident of Indiana, to sell another resident of Indiana a handgun, theoretically, though I own a store, so everything runs through the store because all profit runs through the store. Uh, but that person would be a individual to individual transfer, is not an illegal transfer. What Joe Biden is proposing here is to require every transfer of a firearm to be done via criminal background check. Now, what is that going to do? That creates the necessity for basically every single gun owner in America to maintain a bound book. That's what they're talking about here. Uh, they're wanting to treat every gun owner in America like an FFL. And then at that point in time, and see, here's the fun part with the FFL. Uh, so you will disposition your gun to me as a dealer with access to the NICS. Then I will disposition your gun or the customer's new gun to the next person who has passed the NICS. Now, if you come in and you've transitioned this gun to a dealer and this person does not pass the background check, now we have the disposition back out. You will have to take and register, you will have to take and disposition it from your personal logbook because that's what it's getting down to. It's a personal logbook is what they're wanting customers to keep. So if that gun comes back in a trace request from the manufacturer, which a lot of times is Glocks, very seldom do we get anything else. I did get one on a DPMS from Sonoran Desert Institute. I guess that was weird, but at any rate, nevertheless, all 200 of you will enjoy that. Um, that's what we're creating. That's what this executive order is trying to do. It is trying to make every single one of you as liable for the tracking of your weapons to whoever they go to. So it won't be, this is the workaround for the registry. There won't be a national registry. They're going to require all of us individual gun owners to keep our personal registries, and then at any point in time that someone messes up somewhere, if they can't track it, of course they 99% of the time they're not finding loose guns, right? And they're like, oh my God, this loose gun was used at this crime. We have no idea who it belonged to. No, I mean, we know, you got fingerprints off the gun. That's your individual registry. Um, but the court system bouncing around. I'm all over the place today and I apologize. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. Joe Biden, in one sentence, has circumnavigated the necessity of the federal government to create a national registry to know who has what guns, and has now put it on the American gun owner. You will eventually, and this is coming down the pipe, you will be required to maintain your own logbook. And the ATF, when something happens, will come audit your logbook. And if your logbook is wrong, you will then be required, or you will then be barred from exercise of your Second Amendment. That is the direction that this is going, 1000%. Call me wrong. Let me know in the comments. Be sure to click the like and subscribe button. As always, guys, thank you so very much for your time. Quick note, I want to talk about something. For those of you that are getting into the shooting sports industry, going out on the range, you're pulling mags and then you're trying to put mags back in. Let me introduce you to the dump pouch with the thing kind of iron in there. This one's from Blue Force Gear. I am not paid by Blue Force Gear to do or sponsor anything, but I really like this pouch. So I've been running mine for maybe about 3 years now. Yeah, every bit of. Any rate, very small, very compact. It can be closed up with one hand, but when you pull this bad boy open, look at that. It's almost a 2-liter pouch. I mean, this thing it's big. You can fit 4 or 5, sometimes 6 AR style magazines. You fit a ton of pistol magazines. It's quick, easy to drop. And the best part is it can be closed back up with one hand, so you don't have to take your belt off or anything like that. And it takes up very, very, very little space. I'm a big fan of this belt, or a big fan of that pouch. Go check it out. Sub $50 most everywhere you could buy it, to include Kavanaugh Outdoors. Good quality product. Blue Force Gear really hit a home run with that one. So give it a go. The last thing I will say on this, guys, go out and buy guns. And is there going to be a run on the banks? Maybe. But remember, with no, never mind. I'm not going to get into that. Guys, thank you so very much. Y'all have a wonderful day.